Welcome. My name is Analia Pisani from AZ Solutions, and in this 30-minute webinar I'm going to take you through another way of presenting boring bullet points into smart visuals using PowerPoint. First, I'll take you through how to create a SmartArt, then how to convert some text that you might have and make that into a SmartArt, and also vice versa. I'll also show you how to animate your SmartArt so that it comes in individually rather than as one big piece. The takeaways from this presentation is that you're going to get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation along with some reference notes and a link to YouTube of the demonstration that I'm giving you here today. I'll just start the demo now. So first of all, I'll take you through how to create a SmartArt, so some of the choices. A SmartArt is basically a visual way of representing some text instead of having it in a bullet point form, like this one here. So we'll create something similar to this. First of all, you can go to a new slide and choose title and content, and then start typing in the text that you want. And that'll be for our title placeholder here. Now for the SmartArt, in the body of it here, you'll actually find the icon that will take you to be able to create some SmartArt graphics. So if we click on Insert SmartArt Graphics, these are the choices here, and on the left it's broken up into different categories. So we have a choice of lists, and then you get a whole heap of list design options or a process type option and so forth. I'm going to go for a list option first. Process then. Process. Now there's a couple of ways you can get your text in there. You can of course start typing straight in here. You can also click on the little arrow on the side here, which will open up the text pane. Now you can either use a little arrow to open up the text pane, or once you're in the SmartArt Design tab, on the top on the left, you can also click text pane, and that will also open up that window. Now I'm going to click in the next box below here. So apples, kiwi, and if I hit enter, it'll actually create another shape for me. And if I don't want that extra box further below, I can simply hit delete or backspace depending on where you were. And so now we have our SmartArt shapes in place. At any time you can change the SmartArt design. So what we can do is change it from a process to a cycle or to another option. So I'll just select it here. By having it selected, you will need to click in the SmartArt Design tab. And from here you can come back into the Layouts options. And you can either hover or highlight from any of the options you see here. But from here you can't really tell what is what kind of a category. So you may also want to go to more layouts, and from these more layouts here you could then go, right, I definitely want something that's more of a cycle type choice. Or you might want something else. Maybe something a bit more of a list choice. The list option that I've chosen here happens to have some images in it. So what I'm able to do with these here is actually insert an image by clicking in here and then choosing where I want to get that image from. It may be coming from my own computer, so from File, and then you can choose the image that you might want in there. If it's not quite what you wanted, you can always change it by right-clicking and selecting Change Graphic, and then go back to the choices either from the computer again or from stock images or any of these other choices here. From these images, I can then type in apple, and then it will narrow down to some images with apples. Choose one for a kiwi, so I could click on that, then go straight into stock image. So stock image is pointing to this tab up here. And if you are going to be using this, you will need to be online. And then we can choose here. Once you have chosen from here, it's going a little bit slow. Yep. You can, as I mentioned before, you can right click, change the graphic. What I want to point out, when you've got stock items online and or even icons, if you have selected icons, then you went, oh, actually, no, forget it. I think I want an image instead. You can always click on image up the top and you'll get back to that section anyway. Okay, so you can still come up to the top here to make that change. At the moment, it's looking a bit bland, a bit flat still. So I've shown you how to insert a SmartArt, change it from one to the other, and choose one with pictures in it, inserting pictures or changing the layout for another one with pictures. So I'll just go through that. So if I've selected this one, when I come into the option here for these layouts, under more layouts, instead of coming into each of these here and looking to see which one of these has a picture in it, you can come into the option here which says picture, and then it will show you them all collectively in one place rather than you having to do the hard work looking around in each individual one. I'll take you through how to change the layouts by colors, styles, and if somebody else has come in and maybe mucked around a little bit with your SmartArt design, how you can reset it back to scratch. So let's take a look at those three things. So first, if I don't like this color, I can select it, come into the format option, choose the fill, and then choose from any of the colors that are available here. The colors that are presented here will match your theme. Now, if that's not the one you wanted, you could come into more colors, and from more colors you can type in the numbers if you know it, or you can either select from the custom option or from the standard options here. So the choice of colors that you get, when you click here, you can then change them to the design colors that come with your theme. But if you don't like any of those, you can still go into format and then choose your own color outside of that. In order for your theme to come up here, that's been generated from this tab here. So if you were to click in the design tab and choose from one of these different themes here, then the choice in the color palette that you would be getting would be matching that theme. I'll change that back to my standard design. Now, even though I've changed it back to my design, the color that I played around with, once I've mucked around with it, it's stayed. So I need to help it along by hitting reset, and then it'll reset back to matching the theme colors that match my business. So with the reset button here, that will change it back. If you want to change the look, so change a bit of the style, you can use these tools here to give it a different look and feel. What's nice is you can simply hover, and as you hover, you can instantly see the change. Okay. If you're presented with a SmartArt graphic and you decide that you want this back into text, once you have the SmartArt tag selected, you can always come into here and choose to convert it into text. You can also do the reverse. So if you're presented with a presentation that has lots and lots of bulleted information and you want to work out a way to make that a bit more visually appealing, then select the text slide, and when you come to the Home tab, in the paragraph area here, you'll find the SmartArt graphic icon, and then you can come in here and change it to your SmartArt graphics. So we can change the color, the style, and reset it. We can also convert it from text and then switch it back again from text to SmartArt, depending on how your information was presented for you. What I also want to take you through is that's fine if somebody has created the slide by going to title and content because you have the command button from here. But what about if the slide was created starting from a blank slide? So I'll take you through creating a blank slide and then working on the hierarchy. So I'll position it in here, create a new slide, this time make it a blank one. So now that I have a blank one, I might create or want to create not only one SmartArt graphic, but I might want to have one SmartArt design effect going here and maybe another over here somewhere. So maybe that would be why I might like to use a blank slide, or maybe a combination of SmartArt with something else. So from a blank slide, it's insert and then SmartArt, and then you're in here to choose the option that you like. So I'm going to go for the hierarchy this time. So now that I'm in the hierarchy, the best thing to do is start typing inside your hierarchy and filling it in. You can type straight into the shape, or you could use your text pane to work through and add your shapes that way. Now there's a shape here that I don't want. I could select it and hit delete or backspace. I can also simply select the shape and then hit delete. So from the accounts one, I want to have 2 or 3 items sitting underneath there. So if I hit enter, you're working just like you do with regular bullets. So now it's at the same level, but once I hit the tab key, it will indent and I can have it sitting underneath. If I want something under marketing, make sure you're next to marketing, hit enter, and don't forget to hit the tab key. And now I'm inserting underneath marketing. And we'll do one more for the warehouse. Okay. So now that I've got my items in place, I might like to rearrange their positioning. So to rearrange the way they're positioned, you can come into this layout option in here and choose standard, for example. Now by choosing standard, I'm going to have one on the left and the other on the right. With marketing, I can do the same here. Under the layout option, I can choose to swing it to the left or make it positioned off to the right hand side. There is another choice to make it both. Now it is slightly different to the standard one, and whilst they are still on the left and on the right, it's just the line position here. See how it's in the center and then splits, whereas this one is positioned a little bit differently. So it's just a matter of preference, which is the one that you would like. So you can start from a blank slide. You can create a hierarchy where you can add or delete shapes. I'll just show you another method for adding your shape. So I'm going to select it over here. And once I have it selected and I'm in the SmartArt Design tab, the other option for adding is to go into the Add a Shape and choose the option to say Add Below. Now once I select Add Below, it's now added below that accounts area there. When you have someone or a shape in there, you can choose to change the order around by using the little arrows here for move up and down. You can also change the promotion of that one. So if I want it alongside accounts, if I can say promote, it's now moved itself up in line with the others there, or I can also demote. So you can move them around, promote and demote, move them from left to right. Something else that you can do when you've got your bulleted set of information and you think, great, I've got the SmartArt that I could go off in that direction and start building it that way, or change it from being a bullet into a SmartArt. But what if I'm still out of ideas, or I still don't like any of the designs that have come up in the SmartArt graphics? Well, you can try the option for design ideas. Now, what you will need to watch out for with the design ideas, it doesn't always give you the same options. So one time round you may have seen these lovely little designs, and the next time round you type in a title and content with even just 3 or more bulleted bits of information, it may not give you the same designs. So one recommendation is with this feature is that if you do find a design that you like, build yourself one PowerPoint presentation with each of these designs as you like, and that way you can come back and reference and use them, rather than try and rely that Design Ideas is going to show you the same one again. So let's take a look at how does Design Ideas work. You'll need to type in some text. So I'll use this one here and I'll just duplicate that. Control D will give you a duplicate. Now that I have it here selected, from the Home tab, from the very end here is the Command button for Design Ideas. So if I click on Design Ideas, this panel opens up and it shows me a range of choices here. And once you have that there, you can simply click on it and it will then rearrange your shapes to some of these. Now the ones that you're looking at here are not ones that you're going to find through SmartArt or under the new slide layout options either. So take a look at each of these, and of course once you have it you can then right click, change your graphic and go off and change it to anything else. So you can tweak it, modify it to whatever you might like. Once you have your presentation all set up the way you like and you have your SmartArt in place, one of the things you can choose to do is to animate. Now, instead of just having the whole thing just sit there and present or just fly in from the bottom and that's it as one whole object, you can actually have it come in pieces. Now I'm going to hit Shift F5, that way it'll run just this one. I'm going to click when I want the first shape to come in. So my first shape comes in, or object, or whatever picture it is that you've got. You would sit there and talk about it, and when you're good and ready, you can click anywhere on the screen and the next piece comes up and the next piece comes up. This is something that you can also do with graphs as well. I'm going to escape and then show you how that was done. So I'm going to go to Insert, I'll do Insert New Slide, Title and Content, pick the SmartArt, And the SmartArt option that I will choose is the option here with a number, plus, plus, plus. So I'll just keep it simple, 1 and 2, oops, 1 and 1, I don't know my maths. 1 and 1 equals to 2. Okay, and now I want to do my animation effect. So from the animation tab, you can choose the fly in option. It's flying in from the bottom, but I can always change the direction if I would prefer it coming in from the side. So I'll leave it coming in from the bottom, but it's coming in as one big mass. So what I want to do is slow that down first of all, but go to the animation pane, and from the animation pane here on the side, I can go to effect option. And from effect option, you can see here it says SmartArt animation. Once I click on this one here, I can actually change that to say come in one by one. And now it's going to come in one at a time. So what I'm going to do here is run it from this slide, so Shift F5, so it runs it from the current slide. And so when I click, the first object comes in. When I'm good and ready, the second one will come in. And when I'm really good and ready, then the third one will come in. So I've got them coming in separately. So what I've been able to show you now is starting off from a blank slide and inserting your SmartArt, creating a hierarchy, and also the design idea option, and animating your objects. Thank you for participating in this training session. I'll just let you know that we also at AZ Solutions offer face-to-face training. We like to do our training all is hands-on, and we have it all step-by-step instructions. But what we really do like it is when you bring examples to the class, because when you bring examples, we can tailor the training, and the training is going to be applicable straight away because it's your examples that you're showing us. If you're not able to do a face-to-face, then we can do a virtual training session as well. Again, they're all hands-on, step-by-step instructions that will take you through, and we love it when you bring examples to the training sessions to make the training very relevant to your work environment. Just remember, you will be getting a copy of this PowerPoint, so you'll be able to click on this YouTube icon, which will take you to the demo that I've just given you here today. You'll also be getting some reference notes. So just as you click on these options here, it'll take you to the reference notes, and it'll also take you here to some articles on the PowerPoint concepts that I've just delivered here today. If you could also leave a review by clicking here or connecting with me on LinkedIn. Thank you for attending the training session. Hope to see you on another.